Hare Krishna. Jai. I think the most auspicious invocation is the
Махарадж говорит, я думаю, что самыми
song
благоприятными молитвами
of Srila Narottam Thakur,
или самой благоприятной молитвой будет песня
which I won't
Шрила
sing, but just
Нароттама
read some of it.
Тхакура.
And
Я зачитаю некоторые строки из них.
we'll get to these lines. But first, Jai Om Vishnupad Sri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Diu Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Навадвип Дхам Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai. Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Vishpa Varena Sulesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhattu Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattu Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Ranjan Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Ranjan Mадхусудан Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madha Charja Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Paramananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. And all the exalted Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis Ki Jai. Jai Go Premanande.
Jai Shri Bhakti Судхир Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Oh, I touched my. Hold on a second.
Я
Oh, so
нажал
actually yesterday
туда,
was the
секундочку.
so-called Adivas
Вчера был так называемый Адивас
of the Навадвип Дхам парикрамы.
канун Навадвип Дхам
And
парикрамы.
today
И сегодня
we're supposed to begin by going to
мы должны начать с похода
Антардвип and Mayapur.
в Антардвип.
As I'm scrolling here, I see Gora Prema Moy Tanu Pandita Gadadhar. There's the place of Gadadhar Pandit. And oh, I should just do by memory. Anyway, in the song Gaurangera Duti Pada of Srila Narottam Thakur, he has the line where he says, oh, here it is, 128. It's making an observation about Navadvip Dham and Gaura Mandal in general, just like we have Mathura Mandal, and within Mathura Mandal we have Vrindavan, then Govardhan, and then Radha Kunda. So here he's saying that in Sri Gaura Mandala Bhumi, Jeba Jane Chintamani, Tarahoy Brajabhume Bas, Gaurangera Sange Gane, Nitya Siddha Korimane, Sejai Brajendra Sutapas. By considering the associates of Gauranga Mahaprabhu to be Nitya Siddha, one can attain the association of Sri Krishna and Brajadam. Whoever considers the land of Lord Gauranga, Sri Навадвип Дхам, to be the land of transcendental touchstone, that person takes residence in Brajadam, Sri Vrindavan. So we could say in the Krishna consciousness movement, our stress is always upon Krishna and Radha and Krishna. and their divine associates. And we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we hear talks of divine love for Krishna, Krishna Prem, Prema Pumarto Mahan, as declared by Mahaprabhu. This is beyond the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, the fifth and ultimate goal of life. The real purpose of life is to come in connection with this divine substance. Actually, it's not that there's love and then there's Krishna Prem, this other type of divine love. There's only that really. And it's perverted manifestation or different, even divine sentiments that are going in that direction. In the Bhagavad Gita purport, Srila Prabhupada Swami Maharaj says, our natural love for Krishna is at present being pervertedly manifested as lust for matter. So, however intense we may conceive that, if we invert that, then we say, oh, then some prospect is there in the opposite direction. But what is the difference between love and lust? Guru Maharaj said, like North Pole, South Pole. Right? Atmaindriya, Vanchatari Krishna, Icha Bolikam, Krishna Indriya Priti, Ichadari Prem Nam. Atma Indriya, self-centered sensuality, calm, Krishna-centered sensuality. He's Rishikesh. He can reciprocate seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, feeling, all sensual possibility. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratena nirmalam rishikena rishikesa sevanam bhakti ruchate. So, in this Навадвип Дхам Mahatmyam, in the introductory section, we're being told, why should this, what to speak of being given some special consideration, why should it be considered at all? As we tell about Gupta Govardhan, there's also Gupta Vrindavan. Really, Навадвип Dham, every aspect of Vrindavan has its counterpart in Навадвип Dham. But why is it not only of interest, but of the most interest? Is because we're told really Odarja and Madhurja, sweetness and magnanimous distribution, in one sense they're interchangeable. But which one is more appropriate for the fallen souls of the Kali Yuga to make their approach? Right? Is Odarja, means that same sweetness of Madhurja, the Madhurya sweetness of Vrindavan, with this element of magnanimous distribution. So, yes, Vrindavan and the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna and the Braja Gopis, that is the supreme, Radhika Madhavasam, Guru Maharaj said, that is the aspiration. Right? And of the Rupanuga line. But in the Навадвип Dham Mahatmyam, Bhaktivinoda Thakur will say, then what is the difficulty? If Krishna came down and displayed these Madhura Rasa pastimes, what happened? Why weren't people able to enter there or grasp that? And he will say, why is because of offenses. He's saying, even if you worship Krishna, you accept that you want to worship Krishna, and you worship Krishna lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, but you won't get a taste for Krishna Nam, what to speak of Krishna Prem, due to offenses. That is the problem. So he writes here, said, everyone, it's after Nityananda Prabhu is begging everyone to take shelter of the lotus feet of Gauranga. Right? He says, the unlimited sins of anyone who once chants Gauranga Nitai are destroyed. Everyone, please listen to another confidential subject. The wealth of Gaura's pastimes is appropriate for the souls of the Kali Yuga. Gaura Hari, as Radha and Krishna, plays with the Sakis eternally in Vrindavan. Through the scriptures, the souls understood the nature of the pastimes in Braja and the greatness of Braja and Radha Krishna's eternal pastimes there. And he says, Krishna Nama, Krishna Dhamma, Mahatmya Apar, Shastrera, Gauraya Jane, Sakala Sangsar. Through the scriptures, the whole world understood the unlimited glories of Krishna's name and Krishna's abode. Still, in general, souls did not attain divine love for Krishna. What is the reason for this? Consider it within your heart. In this regard, there is a highly confidential subject, Gudha Tattva Sar, that souls bewildered by Maya do not consider. When souls worship Krishna for many births, but do not develop divine love, then certainly they have made offenses. When souls are free from offenses, chant the name of Krishna, they quickly attain divine love for Krishna. The special characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Avatar is that souls attain the wealth of divine love even while they commit offenses. Pure divine love for Krishna. So you think Krishna Prem searches for souls. Like Guru was saying, search for Sri Krishna. Then we did that. He said, and what did we show here? Loving search. He's also searching for his loving servant. So he was saying, pure love for Krishna searches for souls who do what? Who cry out, Nitai Chaitanya. Right? Like in the Bhakti Vinod Thakur song, Nitai Chaitanya Bole Natshreyam Arman. Natshreyam Arman, Natshreyam Arman, Natshreyam Arman, Bole Natshreyam Arman. When he say, Aparadha Dure Jabe, Deho Prema Gan. When my offenses go away, so he starts with, Dial Nitai Chaitanya Bole Natshreyam Arman. And you can say man means mind, but it really means heart, mind, heart. Deep heart's core. And he's saying, if Nitai and Chaitanya, if they will dance within the core of my consciousness, like Sada Hridaya Spuratu Ba Sachinandana, right? Beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then Aparada Dura Jabe Pave Premo. All my offenses will go away. Then I will be gifted with Krishna Prema. So he says, offenses do not obstruct such souls, and their eyes cry with pure love for Krishna. Within a short time, offenses leave on their own, the soul's hearts become purified, and divine love develops within them. The offenses of souls in Kali Yuga are unlimited and unavoidable. There is no deliverance for the soul without Gaur Nam. The name of Gaur. Thus, in Kali Yuga, I do not see any way without Gaura, and the scriptures proclaim this. So Gaura Chandra appeared in Navadvip, which is the crown jewel of all holy places. In other holy places, offenders are punished, but in Navadvip, offenses are always forgiven. Jagai and Madhai, the evidence of this. So then we'll say, and it's mentioned in here, and you cannot get the grace of Gauranga Mahaprabhu without Nityananda Prabhu, right? Whom has committed offense. Whoever Nityananda Prabhu forgives, Mahaprabhu forgives. Whoever Nityananda Prabhu rejects, Mahaprabhu will have nothing to do with him. So all based on the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. And as we began as Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, Srila Guru Maharaj, where did he establish his mat? And the Aparadha Bhanjanar Pat of Navadvip. We were discussing this earlier, what is considered like Navadvip or Old Navadvip, sometimes called Kulia, and one purport in Chaitanya Charitamritam. And we can say as a footnote that the purports of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada and Chaitanya Charitamritam are for the most part, he's translating the purports, the commentaries of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Saraswati Thakur. You could say 80%, 90%, that's what it is. So in one purport, talking about what is considered Kulia, what you tell, Old Navadvip, the original. Because we'll hear here, sometimes by the will of the Supreme Lord, the Ganga and other, they're coming up and concealing one place, revealing another, or the whole place was flooded for 100 years and rediscovered by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And here in the Navadvip Dham Mahatmyam, he is revealing the cartography of Navadvip, and he's saying, and that's only possible by the grace of Nityananda Prabhu and the blessings of the Vaishnavas. But in that purport, it's Srila Saraswati Thakur really speaking, saying the places that may be legitimately considered Navadvip. Hare Krishna. All right. Four? That's it? All right, it's early. Four. Okay. Hare Krishna. Four sampradayas. So, in that purport, it's saying this place, that place, and then it says, Koler Danda is Kulia. So, Madhusudan Maharaj knows this. When we would first, go, in our times, coming to the mat, you'd arrive at Navadvip train station, and the rickshaw would come, and we go, Koler Danga Mat. That's how the mat was known to them. Koler Danga mat. Koler Ganj, Koler Danga, same thing. Koladvip also. And connected with Varahadev. So where Srila Guru Maharaj established Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, the Aparadha Bhanjanar Pat, he said, where all the Aparadhis are forgiven their offenses. And where did he go before first? To get the grace of Nityananda Prabhu to Virachandrapur. What's the other name? Ekachakra. To Niyatai Bari, the house of Nityananda Prabhu. And before the deity of Nityananda, Shastanga Dandavat, saying, you are Patita Pavana. I am, fallen. You please give me shelter in Navadvip Dham. And the inspiration came to Guru Maharaj, who was hesitating to initiate, but you do not give Patita shelter. If you will give Patita shelter, then, and Guru Maharaj understood, oh, now some divine indication is given to initiate others in the line of Srila Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Rupanuga line, Sri Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Saraswata. And then he went to the established Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and the Aparadha Bhanjanar Pat. And there, sitting at the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, we came to understand the significance of Navadvip Dham. When he said that referencing the conclusion of the Madhya Lila section of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam, which, by the way, Guru Maharaj would say, Govinda Maharaj likes this very much. Krishna Lilamrita Sar Tar Shata Shatadar Dastika Jaha Jaha Hoite. Se Chaitanya Lila Hoy Sarovarak Shoy Manusa Hangsa Charaha Tahate. It's drawing a comparison between Krishna Lila and Gaura Lila. Krishna Lila, Amrita Sar, it is the creme de la creme of all nectarine substances. Not just nectar, I'm saying Lila Amrita Sar, right? The cream, the creme de la creme of nectarine substances. Then we want that. Right? We want the highest thing. Oh, but it is reserved for the highest section of liberated souls. Oh, but we are not liberated souls. Why Guru Maharaj, although he had some inclination to establish Kadam Kandi or Udab Kyari in Vrindavan, he thought, no, Vrindavan is for the highest section of liberated souls. Don't consider myself as such. Made his way toward Navadvip via Puri. Again, thematically. Gangbhir. What's the subject matter of the Gangbhir? The Uddhava Gita. That's another talk. But anyway, then to Navadvip, saying, yes, the non-liberated will find their fortune in Navadvip Dham. That's how Guru Maharaj is thinking. Guru Maharaj is thinking is always perfect and precise and ontologically not only accurate, but with totally supported. So, so in consideration of that, so that ultimate desirable substance is reserved for the highest section of liberated souls. Then what is Gaura Lila? That's Krishna Lila. What is Gaura Lila? Odarja, the magnanimous distribution of Krishna Lila, of that very substance. Das DK means the 10 directions. Means north, south, east, west, northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast, and up and down. That means everywhere. It's a poetic way of saying it's distributing it in every direction. And what is implied is, back to this, those who are unqualified, who have no, if we're told, it's the high, not just liberated souls. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana kotishvapi mahamune. A devotee, Koti Durlabh Madhya Ek Krishna Bhakta, out of 10 million Koti Mukta Durlabh, 10 million liberated souls, one may be a Krishna devotee. That's what it means by highest section of liberated souls, not just liberated souls, highest section. Out of the 10 million, one might be a Krishna devotee. So now, so that the magnanimous distribution, that is Gaura Lila. Namo Mahavadhanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtasaya Namah. So he's saying the entrance to the entrance to Krishna Lila is through Gaura Lila. The entrance to Vrindavan is in Navadvip. Guru Maharaj went so far as to say that every atom of Navadvip is capable of giving Vrindavan in full. Where will you hear that statement? Anywhere. Where? From Guru Maharaj. That's original. Every atom of Navadvip is capable of giving Vrindavan in full. That is Srila Guru Maharaj's conception. And just to finish, and he's saying, and the Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan, this Sankirtan, we hear, and the Panchatattva and all the devotees, and we'll hear about it in Srivas Sangam. He said, it is the Rasa Leela in distribution mode. So, yatha yatha gaura padara vinde vinde ta bhaktim krita punyarasi tata tatot sarpati hridya kasmat radha padamboja sudamburasi. So Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, Asta Saki Tunga Vidya from Krishna Lila, descending in Gaura Lila, saying, give your full attention to the lotus feet of Gauranga. Listen to Nityananda. There's another way of saying, listen to Nityananda, listen to Nidhai. He's saying, put your full attention on the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Gaura Padara Vinde. And then what will happen? And who will do that? Those who are sumedasa, who have refined theistic intellect. Tatatatot sarpati hridya kasmad, automatically, subconsciously, deep from the heart's core, the Radha Rasa Shuddhaniti, the ocean of nectarine service emanating from the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani begins to flow. These souls spring out of the soil of Vrindavan. Radha Padamboja Sudamburasi. Hare Krishna. So, Guru Maharaj and his poem said, Taddatamisho Bhavan, Sri Radha Parasevanamritamaho Taddatamisho Bhavan. Oh, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is your gift to the world. So, I imagine, where's Madhusudan Maharaj? That we are, now we're leaving the front gate of the Mat and heading towards Mayapur.
Yes, Maharaj. So, I mean, very briefly, we have to condense everything because we have a lot of traveling, but we'll come to the main points. And actually, the main point is we've started from Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, the home of the heart of the family of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. And just at the beginning, notably, Gurudev, even in his later years with us, when his health was not good, he would come downstairs and he would start everybody off on the parikrama. And he himself would garland the senior devotees, and they would have hundreds of garlands that he would have his servitors give to the participating devotees. Then, from in front of Guru Maharaj's Samadhi, then Gurudev would inaugurate that chanting, and then sometimes he would come all the way out to the front gate that Srila Goswami Maharaj was just mentioning about. And on the way, we do parikrama, first of all, of our temple, including actually Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir, Guru Maharaj's Bhajan Kutir, and as we come in front of Guru Maharaj's Bhajan Kutir, which is upstairs, then the devotees all bow down and give obeisances to Guru Maharaj. And this, by Gurudev's direction, that continues every year. He said, because Guru Maharaj is watching us. Maybe we cannot see him, but he is seeing us. So this auspicious beginning of the parikrama each day, coming in front of Guru Maharaj, then coming in front of the deities on the road side of the Nat Mandir, and then starting on our journey. So our journey today takes us generally still in the dark out, because it's early in the morning, we're doing parikrama of the deities as we would normally, but we come out of the gate, and then we head to the Ganges River, which is up in, the Ghat, which is up in the town of Navadvip, and from there we take overloaded or miraculously floating boats. Usually they still miraculously float, and sometimes if the boat is full of all swimmers, Krishna gives a little entertainment for the Vaishnava and does sink the boats. But Krishna checks that everybody can swim first, and then plays that trick. Then we come over, crossing the Ganges with many boats and very full boats coming to Antardvip, where we're coming over Mayapur. And then Mayapur is essentially, it's the ghat where the boat, ghat means the place where the boat lands on the shore. And from there, it's basically one road that goes up to Mayapur, to Yogapith, etc. And on this road, left, right, there are many temples. And the first temple is a temple of Lord Shiva, who is guarding the Dham. And then, yes,
the name of the road is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Road.
Oh, there we are. Wonderful.
After him.
Yeah, wonderful. And then one of the first temples that we come up on the road, we pass by and giving obeisances to, we're actually going into several temples to honor the acharyas of their missions and to honor the spreading of Srila Saraswati Thakur's mission, and especially through those who are dear to Srila Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. So we would visit to Madhava Maharaj's temple, and then we'll come to Bhakti Suranga Goswami Maharaj's temple, which is located at Nandan Bhavan, Nandan Acharya Bhavan. And this is the place where Nityananda came to when he came to Navadvip, knowing that Mahaprabhu was there, and where Mahaprabhu came himself and found, as it were, Nityananda. He came straight to this place. This is where Nityananda and Mahaprabhu had their first meeting in the Leela, the pastimes of Gaura Leela here on earth. That temple is run by Srila Bhakti Suranga Goswami Maharaj, dear friend and godbrother of Guru Maharaj. And then we come from here up to the ISKCON temple, which the headquarters of the worldwide mission of ISKCON, and especially to the Pushpa Samadhi of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And here there his glories. And Maharaj, you can stop me any place or any time you like to say if, I mean, of course.
I think I understand. Like if we were doing, remember, according to Навадвип Дхам Mahatmyam, you need to start your Навадвип Dkham parikrama at the Yogapith in Mayapur. Because we're, as you're pointing out, we're coming from the Chaitanya Saraswat Mata Navadvip, then we're on the graciousness of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev stopping at these temples.
Yeah.
If we were to discuss them, you know, the meeting of Nityananda and Mahaprabhu, which we did recently, or the glories of Srila Prabhupada, that we will not make it to the Yogapith.
Yes.
And I believe over these few days, we will, the glories of Srila Prabhupada will be expressed. Because, you know, just in brief to say, no, we wouldn't be having this conversation and nobody would be here if it were not for him.
Indeed.
He spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And even, you know, the members of, we wouldn't know about Guru Maharaj, then you wouldn't know about Gurudevs, really, or about Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And what he established there is the ISKCON Chandradoya. Chandra Uday means the moon that's rising in Mayapur. That means Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So we will discuss in this time Srila Prabhupada and his glories and some of the other things, but if we do not go to the Yogapith, I mean, if we do extensively, we will not make it to the Yogapith where we're supposed to begin our parikrama.
Indeed, and we are digital, so digitally we don't have to think, oh, we're passing by these places and we'll have to come back to them. So digitally we can easily travel one place to another. So the next place after ISKCON is, so we're passing by these places, giving our honor, and we are indeed Maharaj. As you say, the next place is the Yogapith, which essentially this is the place of the appearance of Sri Gauranga Sundara. And this is where Nityananda started his parikrama, going to this place when Sachi Devi was present, and wonderful descriptions given in Навадвип Дхам Mahatmya. So Maharaj, we've brought the devotees here with the blessing of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, and we pass the microphone to yourself.
Передаем микрофон снова вам, Махарадж.
There's so many ways that this can be considered.
Можно по-разному воспринимать это все. И
if we think how merciful is Krishna to have appeared here so recently, I mean, and the vast span of time, 500 years ago, or probably, that's nothing. It's yesterday. Because we think Krishna 5,000 years ago, 50 centuries before. And on that point, Saraswati Thakur, quoting Bhakti Thakur, says about Krishna's divine pastimes, Neti Hasa Nikalpanam. They're not historical occurrences, they're not imaginary. And Guru Maharaj will say, whether it's about Krishna Lila or Gaura Lila, evolution, you think, it's already what it is, and it just is gradually manifesting itself in this plane, like the sun. The sun, it's actually not dark. You know, the sun like didn't go out or reduce. No, it's just from our perspective, it's now dark, and then tomorrow the sun will appear to rise and go across the sky. But actually the sun's position is fixed. So in the spiritual realm, the abode of Krishna, or in this case, Gaur Mahaprabhu's abode and divine pastimes, they occupy an eternal position, but they're manifesting in this plane in different ways. And that's what we hear in the Навадвип Дхам Mahatmyam of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, how sometimes millions of years ago, a different avatar or great devotees, knowing what would manifest here in the future, they express their appreciation of their worship. It's like we hear about we'll hear about Nrsimhapoli later. Nrsimhadev realizing, oh, in the Kali Yuga I appear as Gauranga. He stops there on a hill surrounded by devatas. So we find out in Навадвип Дхам Mahatmyam that after Mahaprabhu's, so Krishna descends as Mahaprabhu to distribute Krishna Prem to everyone and to personally taste the Mahabhav Krishna Prem of his beloved Srimati Radharani. But after the pastimes become unmanifest, for perhaps 100 years, the divine rivers rise and just flood the whole area. So in one sense, it's like everything is suppressed or in a lost position. And then after some time, the waters recede. But where all of these divine pastimes took place, no one knows. Well, not no one, but almost no one knows until the appearance of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here, humbly saying, he takes it back to the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. He's saying, you can't know without the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, and without the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, it cannot be revealed. So he's not taking the credit for this. But we know that as Bhaktivinoda Thakur is becoming elderly and retiring from his occupation, he asked to be transferred to Krishna Nagar. And some of us have seen, you can still see the tracks of this narrow gauge train, but now they assemble like a sabji market or a fruit market over the tracks. When you go through Shantipur, Madhusudan Maharaj would take Gurudev there many times by car, but we'd still go over those tracks. When I first went, the little train was still in operation, so it was kind of a thrill for the devotees because we would think like, oh, Bhaktivinoda Thakur rode on this train, going to Krishnanagar or Shantipur, and he did. And we're told his health was very bad at the time, and it was one of those moments, like Guru Maharaj says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I mean, not just his health was bad, he was like deathly sick. He got the transfer to the Nadia district, but he was deathly sick. Another cliffhanger. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur basically saying, if I die on the way, I will have died going in the right direction. So we come this close to it not being revealed. Right? So this somehow, the Krishna, he's so addicted to this particular type of love that resides deep in the hearts of his devotees, that he puts them in circumstances that are just inexplicable and unthinkable to us. But the devotees, the wealth of the Krishna Prem, or in this case, the Gaur Prem in their hearts is such that nothing can deter them. So he pushes on, and we're told there, he's searching through, and I forget the name, but there was a British government agency who made records of land transfers. Right? This is where the British bureaucracy comes in handy. Right? They're keeping records like this man bought this property for this amount of money, and it's, you know, with the, like we have now, the, when you transfer real estate. So they were doing that, and they had names, but we could say, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, before he gets to that office, he establishes a house in Swarupganj, right? Surabhikunj, which we will visit perhaps tomorrow or soon. But from that house, we're told, Guru will say, according to one of the Saraswati Thakur's disciples, this, what is it, Parvat Maharaj, I believe, or Bharati, he was a neighbor of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He would hear him at 3 o'clock in the morning, taking Krishna Nam, wailing, he said, as if he was crying off to his long-lost beloved in the distance, like pathetic wailing of Krishna Nam, heart-shattering, heart-melting Krishna Nam. And so, because what is Bhaktivinoda Thakur doing? At 8 o'clock at night, he would eat some rotis and milk, and then rest from 8 till midnight. Wake up at midnight and go on writing his songs, his books, Jaiva Dharma, Chaitanya, all these things, and then sometimes start taking Krishna Nam 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and like that. And then rest a little bit, an hour or so before going to work in the morning. But sometimes in the evening when he would rest, he'd have a divine vision. And he would see this golden, effulgent city across. He's and Surabhikunj, Godrumadvip, but looking over in this one direction, he would see this golden effulgent city, divine city. And we're told sometimes when he's taking Krishna Nam in the morning, some breeze is coming by like 4 a.m., 4:15 and going in this direction. And then he came to understand, oh, it's Nrsingadev going to the Mangal Arati at the Yog Pit. But where is that exactly? Hunters, that was the name of the people keeping the records, Hunters' records. So he's searching those records because he has the dream vision. He's trying to find that land. Where is it actually? And he sees in Hunters' records a place, and it's called Myapur. Mayapur. And he's saying, oh, I need to go to that place. And so he follows the map, and when he gets there, we're told, he meets these Muslim men, and they they're saying, maybe the land you're searching for is that useless land over there. Why useless? They say, well, we try growing things there. Nothing will grow. One thing grows, tulsi. So it's useless. And he's saying, oh, show me that place. And they take him there, and he sees this place, and only tulsi will grow there. Other things do not grow. So, and that's interesting. It's always like one group saying, useless, nothing substantial in there. And what? The Yog Pit, the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Bhakti Vinod Thakur, the great Bhakti Vinod Thakur, we're in the Bhakti Vinod Paribar. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is everything to us. He is not overly confident in his own assessment of things. He's having these divine visions. Bhakti Vinod, who walks in the sky and comes upon a setting of the Mahajans having a Gita class, and they invite him to speak on the Apichet Surarachara Slok. He's not overly confident in his own assessment of things. So he's thinking, like, all pure devotees, like, oh, I need the blessings, the grace, the authentication, certification of the higher Vaishnava. Who is higher? I mean, we think no one. But Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who we're told lived to be 125. Bhakti Vinod Thakur writes about him and some of his journals, some of their pastimes. So he goes to get Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj to verify, is this the birthplace of Mahaprabhu? And we know Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he is, as Gurudev would say, invalid. Like we were in Govardhan, once Gurudev was saying, I am invalid. Then he turned to us, he goes, but my friends are valid. But I'm invalid. But my friends are valid. But so Jagannath Das Babaji, his divine pastime, he is at this point like hunched over, as we see in the picture, always absorbed in the upper world in Krishna Nam, but he's carried by his attendant in a wicker basket, like a palki. They had such things. It's not as unusual as it sounds. So he would carry him that way, because due to his situation. So remember, as you see in the, he's like that, and then they bring him at the behest of Bhakti Vinod Thakur to this Tulsi mound, as it were. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, and Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj leaps up into the air. He's leaping like a meter off the ground, chanting, Gaura Hari Nitai Chaitanya. He's overwhelmed by ecstasy and certifying that this is in fact the birthplace of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there's one neem tree there. We know he was, as a baby, called Nimai, and they would use the bitter neem twigs to keep away evil spirits. And Bengali people, they use neem leaves for all kinds of things. And it was one of my favorite things is neem begun, which is this fried eggplant with neem powder. And so I've been gone for a long time. I mean, and like preaching in Russia and other places, and come back. And Gopal was saying to me, like, Maharaj, anything you want, for like, and I was saying like, neem begun, if you can make that. And this was like on a Friday, and the next day was, and he goes, oh, cannot make on Saturday.
Я не могу
You're like, why?
сделать этого в субботу,
Said,
приготовить это.
Mahaprabhu, you cannot make on your birthday. So first of all, my birthday Friday. Cannot have that. Next day, Saturday, he said, you can't. That's Mahaprabhu's birthday. It's also the day of the week you're born. So anyway, so the Nimai, and Maharaj, you want to add something there about the deities and the place?
Maharaj is just a place where we all come to and actually astounded that it's been revealed where Mahaprabhu appeared from. And Maharaj, no, we are the origin of all of our good fortune, the advent of Gauranga Sundara. And lots of people coming from different temples here, very busy temple, and noticeably not only our temple and ISKCON temple have become, you can say, wealthy and grown up in the number of followers and people who are coming, but throughout the whole of Mayapur it's very clear, including this temple which has had a big overhaul recently.
And there well, are we going to go to the Chaitanya Mat?
Yes, indeed, Maharaj. From here, not so far along as you know, is Sri Vasangam, where Mahaprabhu had so many of his dancing pastimes in the courtyard of Sri Thakur. And then after that, it is Chaitanya Mat, Maharaj.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Would you like to stop in one of these places?
How could I not?
Разве я могу не захотеть? Говорит Госвами Махарадж.
I just don't want to fail to properly glorify any one of these places, Maharaj, to be honest.
Я просто...
Maharaj.
But I can say that, I mean, I can only say with, with confidence what I've heard from Srila Guru Maharaj or Srila Gurudev Srila Prabhupada. But I ask Guru Maharaj if as we say, there's the Bahiranga Sangikori Nama Sankirtan, Antaranga Sangikori Rasa Ashwadan. In general, he's promoting Krishna Prem to everyone through Krishna Nam San, Prema, Krishna Nama Siddhu Dhamma Danya Dana Sagaram, Prema Dhamma Deva Meva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. But privately, Rasa Ashwadan with Swarup Damodar, Ramananda in the Gangbir in Puri. So I asked Guru Maharaj if that, from one sense, is like, you could say like the highest internal reason, then how do we understand the relationship between Navadvip and Puri? Like higher, lower, preferable. And Srila Guru Maharaj said, like, how you just say, firmly, fervently, he said, stalwart followers of Mahaprabhu prefer Navadvip.
Настоящие последователи Махапрабху.
And then we get some hint as to why sometimes the Puri pastimes giving some sadness to the Navadvip devotees about the effects of Krishna Viraha upon the divine form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu without his beautiful hair and so many things. But Guru Maharaj mentioned the song of Bhakti Thakur when we'll later go to the house of Vidya Vachaspati, but where Bhakti Vinod is saying, when will Nimai Pandit give up the robes of renunciation and join us again in the Srivas Angam? That will be our happiness. So that Srivas Angam, the house of Srivas Thakur, those kirtans that are going on there, prema rasa kirtan, how to say Guru, the comparison he's giving
То
is that
сравнение, которое дает Гуру Махарадж,
this is Vrindavan,
это Вриндаван,
and the sort of divine flow of Krishna Prem that's going on there,
божественный поток Кришна Премы, который
it's tantamount to when Krishna leaves Vrindavan and goes to Dwaraka, and the gopis want him to come back. So when these devotees say they want to have these kirtans again in the house of Srivas Thakur, it's not merely, singing and dancing as one might conventionally conceive. But we know the divine ecstasy experienced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the house of Srivas Thakur, such that that time when his mother-in-law hid herself in there because she wanted to experience that. And Nimai Pandit said, tonight that flow of rasa has not come to me. And all the devotees are like, so that means there's some singing and going on, but no, internally, they're not in that zone, in that plane, and having that experience. And he says, why? He said, because there's someone who is unqualified here, and that is preventing this from manifesting or being displayed. That's very interesting to consider. And of course, then we hear, they search and they lift up this basket, and lo and behold, there's Srivas Thakur's mother-in-law, whom he, or you could say ceremoniously or unceremoniously, he grabs her by the hair and drags her out of the room. Which also, I mean, think of the intensity of that. And it shows you about these devotees. Remember also his, during one of these kirtans in Srivas Angam, his son dies. So he hears these ladies wailing, and he goes in, Mahaprabhu's in the room, and he goes out, what's the problem? He goes like, her son dropped dead, and all the, and he's going like, that may be true, but in the next room is Gaurahari, Nimai Pandit, and he's in the most divine, deep state of expression and appreciation of Krishna Prem, and nothing should disturb that. Appearing to be callous to the death of his own son, he's saying, nothing will disturb this. Not even the so-called death in this world and the death of our own child. And so the night goes on, and when before sunrise or at that time, finally Mahaprabhu comes to understand what happened. And he's saying, Srivas, why didn't you say something? He's saying, I will not allow anything to disturb you. And that melts the heart of Mahaprabhu, and he's saying, how could I ever abandon devotees like this? And that actually it's connected to a verse from the Bhagavatam that's very similar. We're saying these devotees who give up everything for me, their families, their friends, their love, everything for me, can I ever give them up? Never. Because sometimes people say, oh, these people in Krishna consciousness, they give up their family, their friends, they're heartless or insensitive. And Krishna is saying, if they do that, in fact, for me, then I can never give them up. And even almost humorously in the Bhagavatam, when Krishna is praising the Braja Gopis, saying, you gave up your families for me, but I didn't do the same for you. He means his devotees. So he's saying, you gave up your family for me, but I can't give up my family for you. Right. Because you are my family, and all my devotees are my family, and I can never give up my devotees. The verse of Ramachandra, when they think Vibhishan is a double agent. Right? Seems like he came from Ravan, he defected, but now things are in such a way, maybe he's a double agent and he is spying for Ravan. This Vibhishan, you should get rid of him. It's a very famous verse. Guru Maharaj put it in his Prapannajiman Amritam, and he said, no, Ramachandra says beautifully, you don't understand. When someone takes shelter of me and I accept them, it's forever. I never give them up. We heard Srila Gurudev say the same. Sometimes they go, there's one devotee of yours. And Guru, no, you don't understand. I will go through hell for them. I will never give up someone who's taken shelter of me. So when Mahaprabhu is saying, look at the devotion of Srivas Thakur, then he goes to that boy, and the boy comes to life, and the boy says, I am your eternal servant, this small boy, I am your eternal servant, and in service to you, and by your, sometimes I'm coming for some time, and then sometimes I'm going, it is all your will. And we find he is the incarnation of Chitraketu, the Chitraketu's son from the 6th canto, who also. He's saying, so by your divine will I came here for this time, and if it is your will, I will go on to another situation. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written about this in his songs. So many wonderful things in the Srivas Sangam. That's really where we conceive the origin of the Panchatattva. And are the Panchatattva deities there? Oh, Hare Krishna. I can't help it if I'm lucky. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupas Rupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. And Gurudev, on his veranda in Kolkata, there's one, the ISKCON paintings, the Panchatattva and beautiful Gaura Nityananda. And he said, it's this verse of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur that is the first verse of the Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi, which we just alluded to. Imagine, Krishna Karnamritam, Krishna nectar for the year, 300 slokas in glorification of Krishna. What does Prabodhananda do? 300 slokas glorifying Radharani. And then the Sahajya imitationists say, why should the first verse for 300 slokas glorifying Srimati Radharani be one about Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva? Of course, it should be the first verse. It could only be the first verse. Nindantam, Babaji Maharaj loved it very much. Nindantam pulakot karena bikasam nipa prasunatstavim prodrikrita bujadvayam hari hari eat uchai vedantam muhu nrittantam drutamasru nirjara chai sinchantam urvitalam gayantam nija parasadai parivratam Sri Gaura Chandram Nama. The tears are streaming from his eyes, making the ground moist, his hair standing on end like the different flowers. Kadamba flowers look like golden, glowing filaments. That's one type of, sometimes his hairs on the divine form of Gauranga look like that. He looks like his body's covered with Kadamba flowers. And then Prabodhananda says, in another place, the ecstasy going in the opposite direction, ecstasy, but going in the opposite direction. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Уходит другое направление.
Hare Krishna. Yat kinchit trigumati kikatamukam goste samastamitat. Das Goswami said we should revere even the insects, the lizards. They're also Mukunda Doita, dear to the Lord. They're participating in the pastimes to help promote things. But so like golden filaments of the Kadamba flower. What he's saying, but when the ecstasy goes in the opposite direction, like golden thorns. How intense is that? His body looks like it's covered in, that's the Kadamba flower. Don't show the thorns. That's the Kadamba flower. Imagine, the whole body looks like covered like that. And that's not even a good picture. But other direction, like golden thorns. Shocking ecstasy to observe. Yes, Madhusudan Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj. So, Sri Vasangam, Mahaprabhu used to have his pastimes inside Sri Vasangam, inside the courtyard, until Jankazi sent his men to go and disturb the kirtan. Say, you can't do this. And then Maharaj, just down the road from Sri Vasangam, and then we have, we have Chaitanya Mata, Srila Saraswati Thakur, but then we have Chankazi's tomb, Maharaj. So these are all just all very nearby on our walking parikrama pilgrimage. Would you like to visit one of these places?
I'm looking at, Advaita Bhavan, Murari Gupta Bhavan, Sri Chaitanya, Mat, Acharya Tushta Samanita, Gadadhar.
Yeah.
One thing to say, and you'll see in that temple, Saraswati Thakur put the 4 sampradayas. So like you have, Sri Sampradaya, and like Rudra, Kumar, Brahma Kumar, and Nimbarka, but the other, Sri, right? No, Sri Ramanuja, Madhva, Nimbarka, Vishnu Swami. So, Hare Krishna. And what he means to show is that so that we're not bewildered by the apparent variegatedness of representation of these different lines. Where are they going, or where are they coming from? If they have legitimacy, and they do, it's all pointing in this particular direction. That is the point, to show that this is supreme. Mahaprabhu is occupying the supreme position. Krishna conception is in the supreme position. And we know when Mahaprabhu tries to convert Murari Gupta, who's ostensibly Hanuman, and you can say by extension Madhva, and that he recognizes the superiority of Krishna conception. But he's saying, but I cannot withdraw the lotus feet of Ramachandra from within my heart. And that actually pleases Mahaprabhu, and he writes on him Ramdas on his head. and so as the gopis will, although they're the highest servitors in Madhura Rasa, they will express their appreciation for Hanuman's position of unfailing, unflinching, unconditional, unbreakable service to his divine master. And that way these things are harmonized. Guru Maharaj says in the Bhavisha Purana, Madhva and Ramanuja came to argue with Mahaprabhu. why you're giving something different?
спорили с Махапрабху.
And he said,
Почему
by
ты
his
даешь что-то
mystic
другое?
explanation, he
Своим мистическим объяснением
corrected them.
он откорректировал их.
But we hear the house of Advaita Charja. Well, Murari Gupta, just to finish that, we know that that is where one day when Nimai Pandit came to his house,
Когда однажды
he
пришел в его дом,
knocked on the door. When he opened the door, Murari Gupta found the Varaha avatar
и Мурари Гупта,
on his doorstep.
открыв дверь, увидел, что у его двери стоит Вараха-аватар.
So if you wonder, like, what sort of pastimes are these?
Что же это за игры такие?
And how playful is Krishna
И насколько
to do that? And it's not
игрив
just,
Кришна.
I mean, as Guru Maharaj would say sometimes, and we should prepare ourselves to surrender ourselves to a whimsical
Мы
absolute.
должны приготовиться,
Saying,
чтобы
but
предаться
when you're
капризному
absolute
абсолюту.
and you're the absolute good,
Когда ты
your
абсолют,
whims are
ты
also wonderful.
абсолютное благо,
So you could
тогда
say
и
it's a
твои
whimsical thing to do
капризы тоже благо.
to show up one day on the doorstep of Murari Gupta as the Varaha avatar
И это
and say, Murari, aren't you going to invite me in?
каприз Господа явиться
But
двери
he makes a point,
Вараха.
many points. First of all,
Ты впустишь меня?
everything is consistently, thematically
Все
connected.
связано.
So he's saying Bhagavad Gita,
Тематически взаимосвязано.
yada yada hi dharmasya, right? When I appear, when adharma overwhelms dharma, at that time I come. So now he's appeared again. And what is Varaha avatar's pastime, in essence?
Что по сути из себя представляет
To save the
игры
earth.
Вараха-аватара? Зачем он
Literally
использует? Чтобы
and
спасти
metaphorically,
землю. В буквальном
right?
смысле и в
To
метафорическом
uplift the
смысле.
earth. The earth is
Поднять землю.
submerged, in the nether region. The earth needs to be uplifted, restored to its former position.
Поднята и
As
установлена
we
обратно
hear
в
that,
положение.
Bhu Shakti,
Мы слышим,
the
что Гуру Шакти,
wife of Varaha,
жена Варахи,
in the Brihad Bhagavatamritam.
Брихад Бхагаватамрите.
So it's interesting in Krishna Lila when Krishna meets Kubja.
Что в
She's
Кришна-лиле,
hunchback,
когда Кришна встречает
and
Кубджу,
she's
она горбунья,
aroma therapy expert.
и она эксперт по ароматерапии.
She has all these perfumes and different things. She can say, "Oh, Balaram, you're a," and she gives him a, this will be good for Krishna, right?
Баларама для
But
тебя,
and it says,
подойдет тебе,
what does it say in Bhagavad Gita? Punyo gandak pritidyam
говорит
cha.
Кришне, что он говорит в Бхагавад-гите?
I am the fragrance of the earth.
Я
All
запах
these
земли.
wonderful fragrances, I am that.
Все прекрасные ароматы — это я.
So she represents the earth, and what of course she's
Она олицетворяет землю.
aromas.
И, конечно же, она занимается
And
ароматерапией.
she's willing to give everything to Krishna,
И она хочет
unlike
дать всё Кришне,
that most unfortunate tailor
в отличие от
who
того
was not
портного,
ready to
неудачливого портного,
share the
который
king's garments
не хотел
with
никаким
with
образом делиться королевской одеждой
how do you say, the king of kings,
с царем
Anyway,
царей.
And what happens when she's offering her fragrances to Krishna, and she's this hunchback woman, offering these up. Then Krishna, with his lotus feet, steps on her feet, and then he puts them under her chin and goes, and straightens her up. He takes the earth from a low position and restores the earth to a rightful position in principle. And then everyone sees, oh, how beautiful she is. So, and on the doorstep of Murari Gupta, that's Varaha, he enters the house, and we're one of those classic Indian water pot. Yeah, it's like round. They have these round kind. Sometimes they have a little stem on the top for pouring the water. he goes over in the corner and he lifts that because, and it's also made out of earth, clay, like mridanga, and he uplifts the earth and restores it to a former position. But two things he says are interesting. He's saying, if even my own family member is against devotees or blasphemed devotees, I'll finish them, I'll kill them, as I did with Narakasura, my own son. Because he blasphemed devotees, he was against Vaishnavas. Second point, he said, and now, right now as we're speaking, he said, there's some so-called sannyasi who is maiming my divine form in Varanasi by saying, God cannot see, cannot hear, cannot taste, cannot smell, like he's deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, he's insulting me. Right? And we've all been poisoned by this type of abstract misrepresentation of the personality of Godhead. We can see, hear, taste, touch, do all these things, but the original source of everything has no such capacity. That's the other. So he stopped by Murari Gupta's to, oh, you could say vent. Say a few things that need to be said. And then I'll just conclude with this. He says to Murari Gupta, like, don't just stand there, glorify me. And Murari Gupta saying, if Ananta Shesh with his thousands of heads, who's been singing your glories since before the beginning of time, has not yet reached, exhausted your glories, then what can a fallen soul like myself possibly say in your glorification? Only you can glorify you. Only you have the capacity to glorify yourself, actually, not someone as lowly and fallen as myself. But that is his prayer, that is his glorification, and it's very beautiful. Hare Krishna, Murari Gupta, ki jai. Maharaj, save me.
Yes, Maharaj, I'm here to serve. Tell me how to serve. We can go and quench everybody's hunger at the Jagannath temple, Maharaj. That's where they give a late lunch to very hungry devotees.
I see. Oh, Jagannath Mandir, yes.
Yeah. And Maharaj, if you like, we can have a first-hand, as a young person, reflection about the Jagannath temple and visiting there from Rai Kishori, just for a couple of minutes.
Yes.
She knows about the magic clock, Maharaj.
Yes.
Unmute. Yes, Rai.
My affectionate, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My affectionate pranams to all the devotees. It's so beautiful to hear these stories and to walk on that road. And it reminded me of a quote I heard from Srila Guru Maharaj from 1983, where he said, there's not enough wealth in the universe that can equal what the Guru can extend to the disciple. And I feel that way with you all, listening to you all. You know, our appreciation is only getting magnified over and over. So it's so wonderful to kind of, you know, feel that, you know, it's dark in the morning, and Srila Gurudev is saying goodbye to the devotees at the gate, which is so unbelievably merciful. And then to go up the Ganga as the sun is rising, it's amazing, actually. And remembering that with you all has been just so
памятая об
so
этом.
wonderful this morning. And I remember the first year I remember the parikrama clearly was I think it was 93.
Я помню,
And
это
so I
был,
was
по-моему,
pretty
93
little.
Я была довольно маленькой.
And I remember at the time I was really into vows. I thought vows were really sweet. We kept on hearing that if you wear shoes in the holy Dham is, very offensive actually, and that you should be humbly proceeding through all these places. So I made a vow when I was 12 years old that I will not wear shoes on any of these
очень
days.
оскорбительно. И я тогда 12-летняя девочка
And I remember because as by the time you go past all the temples in Mayapur, that Jagannath temple feels farther away.
Храм Джаганнат.
The sun is kind of going down, and it's it's been a bit of a long day. And those forests in India are kind of rare. And there's this little forest that's around these beautiful Jagannath deities. And it feels so mysterious that they want to reveal themselves in this place. And really, that, you remember sitting with those leaf plates under the trees of that beautiful forest. That temple is so kind of cooling and beautifully
пальмовыми листами в качестве
kind of
тарелок.
giving some mercy to everyone after being in the sun and going through those hot rice fields and crossing over. Such a sweet memory actually of arriving there.
Парикрамы
I think there's
долгого
lots of
дня
others who
на
can
этой
share
заре.
that feeling of,
И это было так мило,
feeling
ты
the shade of
чувствуешь,
the
как
tree, all
все
these benefic trees, you're going under, you're seeing the neem tree. And actually, I remember just it came to me while Shri Goswami was speaking. I was there in Yoga Pit one time, when Shri Goswami was there. He was saying, these pastimes are happening continuously. And I was quite young at the time. And you're thinking, how much do we actually perceive of these holy places? The only thing we're perceiving of them is through the affection of the devotees who are sharing their hearts with us.
Только через
So
преданных
that
мы
just
можем что-то понять об
that
этих
came to me
прекрасных
today.
местах.
Jai, many thanks, right, Ishwaridi?
О чем я размышляла сегодня.
Dandavata.
And on that point, it's a fact. Every day we're seeing, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prakash.
Мы поем каждый день.
Guru Maharaj, it's actually Mahaprabhu's example, but Kaviraj Goswami and Charitamritam saying the sun, it's just like at this moment, somewhere the sun is rising.
В этот момент, да,
At this exact moment, somewhere the sun is setting.
где-то солнце
At this moment, it's midnight,
где-то полночь
etc.
и так далее.
So, and that means at every moment of the day, the sun is rising somewhere. At every moment, simultaneously, it's setting noon and midnight. One sun. So depending on where you are, if now we're doing this Zoom, if we had it all set up and at these different locations, someone can say, oh, we're seeing a beautiful sunrise right now. No, I'm seeing a beautiful sunset. No, the hot sun overhead. Oh, it's pitch black midnight. One sun showing all of these perspectives simultaneously, perpetually. So what's being told there about Krishna Lila and Gaur Lila, it's all going on. All these different phases of it are going on eternally. And the great devotees like Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they're entering into that lila at a particular time, and also, and it's being expressed through them. But the example Guru Maharaj gave was, he's saying, it's like a divine current. So he said, like the current of the Ganga. If you're standing on the shore and you offered a flower into the current of the Ganga, the current starts carrying the flower away from you. He said, but if you run at the speed of the current line, the flower will still be within your vision. So he's saying, what is that current? As she alluded to, the current of heart of
Как,
these
например, это поток сердца
superior, pure devotees,
высочайших
it's
чистых
that
преданных.
current, they can,
И этот поток
those pastimes are within their view
всегда в их поле зрения.
eternally.
Эти игры
Hare
вечно
Krishna.
с ними.
So Maharaj is there where the devotees take prasadam. Srila Gurudev would arrange for the prasad to be cooked in the temple, Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, and then taken by van, taken by truck. There distribute prasadam, and after a little rest there, then devotees continue to Simantadip and to Rudradip on their way back to Navadvip. But most of them take a rickshaw, to be quite realistic. Most of them take rickshaws back from the Jagannath temple to the Ghat, and then cross the Ganges and come back to Navadvip town and Kolavadam.
И возвращаются потом.
So I think we'll conclude here for today.
Сегодня мы закончим.
Yes,
But I just want to say that. So on one such occasion, the last few places we stopped, there was this dog attached himself to our party. Right? So everywhere we would go, that dog would like go with us and really stay with us. Then when we'd leave, he'd go with, he was really with us. So he made it all the way back to the mat. And so when everyone came back to the mat, they were feeding all the devotees. They actually took some prasadam from the remnants of the back, and they put them on a leaf plate for that dog. And that dog was sitting there, very nicely, It was a beautiful thing to see, actually. So he collected on the mat and then made it through the gates of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. It was a wonderful thing to behold, right? And in light of the pastimes of Shivananda Sen and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna. So, shall we sing a song to conclude?
And Maharaj, if you wish, or at least we can remember that when we come back to the mat, generally in tradition they're singing Nagara, Brahmiya, Amara, Gora, El Ghore. When we arrive back and they're chanting this in front of Guru Maharaj's Samadhi, and of course in recent years.
So who can sing that? It has to be someone here in this room.
Oh, Paramananda Prabhu can sing it.
All right.
Sorry, Paramananda, put you on the spot.
Парамананд Прабху мог бы спеть. Простите, Парамананд Прабху, что вытолкнул вас вперед.
I'm not sure which book you're using, but Nagara, Brahmiya, and at home you can see the song book and join in, but keep the microphones off. Wherever we are, we'll also join in as an echo, but with our microphone off.
Мы можем выключить микрофон и тоже петь со всеми.
You can sing there, Maharaj, and we'll participate from here.
We volunteered Paramananda Prabhu first, Maharaj.
Вы могли бы спеть оттуда, сказал Госвами Махарадж. Мы выбрали Парамананду уже.
Gore Gore Nagara Brahmiya Amara Gore 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 Amanitaya Gore. This very enthusiastic way.
But where is it? Where is it? No, I just want to follow. 281? Okay. Okay. Bhagavata